everyone, I'm Sarah of Rich Textures Crochet and welcome. Today we're going to be learning how to crochet the Adelaide Scarf. Now this is the scarf, coordinating scarf to go with the Adelaide Beanie, which is also here on my channel. This is the second hat and scarf combination in the 2023 Wonderful Hats crochet along, so you can find all the info about that in the description of this video. Our scarf today features a beautiful texture of the Suzette stitch and some half double crochet stitches in the third loop. It's quite easy to work. It measures approximately 7.5 inches wide by 72 inches long, excluding the fringe that I've added. The scarf is fairly easy to work. I'll give you instructions on how to adjust the size later on in the video. For the tutorial today, I'm going to be using a worsted weight or medium weight yarn. It's a 100% acrylic yarn. This is the Impeccable by Loops and Threads. There's about 285 yards per ball in this yarn, and I'm going to be using 2 balls of yarn. You're also going to need a H8 or a 5mm crochet hook and a copy of the free written pattern, which is on my website at richtexturescrochet.com. The direct link is in the description there for you. So thank you so much for joining me. While you're here, I invite you to subscribe. This channel is updated every single week with free crochet patterns and crochet stitch tutorials, and I hope that you'll check some of those other patterns out and stay tuned for the final 3 hat and scarf patterns coming over the next 3 weeks for the crochet along. Let's grab our hooks and yarn and get started. Our scarf pattern today is worked in rows. We're going to start by making a slip knot and then by working a foundation chain. Our foundation chain today is going to be 30 chains. If you would like to change the size or the width of your scarf, you're going to want an even number of stitches. Today I'm going to start by chaining 30. Once you have your 30 chains worked, you're going to start row 1 by working a half double crochet into the second chain from your hook, and then half double crochet into each stitch all the way across. At the end of this row, you're going to have a total of 29 stitches. At the end of row 1, chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 2, we're going to work half double crochet stitches all the way across, this time working them in the third loop. Your chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to start by working into this very first stitch and working under the third loop only. Now when you turn your work, you're looking at the backs of your stitches. So if you look just here in front of you, you see a loop that's running along the top. Right below that loop, you'll see another one that's running parallel to it. You're going to insert your hook just under that front loop. That's under your top loop. You want to work half double crochet stitches, so yarn over, insert your hook under that third loop, yarn over, drop a loop, and complete your half double crochet stitch. You're going to work half double crochet stitches and third loops all the way across. What it's going to do is it's going to push the top of your stitch to the front and give you that little ridge of texture. So work a half double crochet in the third loop of each stitch all the way across. You'll continue to have 29 half double crochet stitches. At the end of row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 3, we're going to work again in the third loop all the way across. This time, however, instead of searching for the loop here in front of us, we want the tops of our stitches to come to the front. So we're going to actually turn our work and look at the back. And here at the back, I'll just take my hook out for a sec, you have your top loop here, and then just under it you have a loop. It doesn't quite go perpendicular, it kind of goes down a little bit on a diagonal, but that's going to be your third loop for this row 3. It's a little bit trickier to pick up, but you want to work your half double crochet stitch by inserting your hook under that loop only. So just like so. And you're going to work your half double crochet stitches all the way across. You'll always want the texture that's created by the top of your stitch to come forward. I'll work a few more stitches here. And if you look at the front, kind of has that same ridge there on the front side. So work a half double crochet in the third loop, this time finding it at the back of your work all the way across. At the end of row 3, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 4, we're now going to begin by working some of the Suzette Stitch texture. So for row 4, you're going to start working the first stitch. Your chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And into that first stitch, you're going to work a single crochet, followed by a double crochet, all into the same stitch. Skip the next stitch, into your next, work a single crochet and a double crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way across, skip the next stitch, into your next, single crochet and double crochet, all the way across until you have 2 stitches remaining. At the end of row 4, when you come all the way across and have 2 stitches remaining, you're simply going to skip that next stitch and single crochet into the final stitch. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now for the next 6 rows, rows 5 through to 10, you're going to repeat your row 4. Into the first stitch, work a single crochet, followed by a double crochet. Skip the next stitch, into your next stitch, work a single crochet and double crochet. Repeat that all the way across to the final 2 stitches, then skip the next stitch, work a single crochet into that final stitch, chain 1 and turn your work. So you'll want to work these rows of Suzette Stitch a total of 6 times more. So you'll have a total of 7 rows in Suzette Stitch, and that brings you to the end of row 10, at which time you can meet me back here. At the end of row 10, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. That's what your work looks like from the beginning. For row 11, we're simply going to half double crochet into that first stitch and then half double crochet into each stitch all the way across. So half double crochet just into the top of each single crochet and double crochet all the way across. You should once again or continue to have 29 stitches. Once you come all the way across, at the end of row 11, you'll be at the start of the repeat in the pattern for the scarf. So from row 12 onward, you're going to repeat your rows 2 through 11 for a total of 19 more times. So your row 2 started with that half double crochet into the third loop, and then so forth. You're going to repeat your rows 2 through 11 for a total of 19 times. So you're going to have a total of 20 of these Suzette Stitch blocks. And at that time, you're simply going to repeat your row 2 and 3 once more, and then that brings you to the end of your scarf. If you would like, head over to richtexturescrochet.com, grab the free written pattern, and it will provide all of the repeats there for you. After that, you'll fasten off, weave in your ends, and then if you wish, you can add a simple knotted fringe, as I have here, to the bottom of my scarf. I worked it shorter just to make sure that I could just use the 2 balls, but if you make it longer, you may go into a little bit to a 3rd ball. But that's all there is to working the Adelaide scarf. So thank you so much for joining me. Once again, I invite you to subscribe. I look forward to seeing all of your finished hats and scarves. Be sure to tag Rich Textures Crochet on social media so I can come by and admire it. Until next time, happy crocheting. Bye.